The dog was just a small, thin shadow curled beside a dusty road. It was doing nothing but breathing, a tiny, fragile presence in a world that had clearly overlooked it. Then a man appeared. His face was a storm cloud of anger, brewing for reasons unknown, his steps heavy and purposeful. He saw the dog, this small, insignificant creature, and something inside him twisted. He lifted his leg, a heavy boot poised to kick the dog away, to erase its existence from his path as if it were nothing more than a piece of trash. But in that split second, as his foot hung in the air, a moment pregnant with violence, something impossible happened. His leg, the very limb he was about to use as a weapon, simply separated from his body. There was no pain, no blood, not even a sound. One moment it was part of him, an extension of his will, and the next it was gone. The man fell backward, landing hard on the dusty ground. The shock was a cold wave that washed over him, drenching his anger and leaving behind pure, unadulterated terror. He stared at the empty space where his leg had been just a moment before. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. His mouth opened, a silent scream forming, but no words came out. There was nothing to say. What could you say when the laws of reality had just shattered before your very eyes? The dog, the intended victim of his pointless rage, stood up. It wasn't frantic or scared. It was calm, almost serene. It looked at the man, then at the leg lying inert on the ground, a detached object that no longer belonged to anyone. The leg was just there. A boot, a pant leg, a piece of a person, now just a thing. The man began to tremble, but it wasn't from any physical injury. It was a deep, primal fear, the kind you feel when you realize you are utterly powerless, that the world operates on rules you never even knew existed. In that moment of profound silence, a new understanding dawned on him. He realized that the world was watching, maybe not with eyes, but with a kind of cosmic awareness. He realized that cruelty, even a small, casual act aimed at a helpless creature, had consequences. They weren't always a distant threat of karma or a guilty conscience. Sometimes the consequence was immediate, surreal, and absolute. He understood that some moments are not just moments, they are tests. They exist purely to reveal who we choose to be when we think no one is looking. Slowly, gracefully, the dog turned and walked away. It didn't limp, it didn't look back. It just continued on its journey, leaving the man behind. And the man, he was left sitting there on the ground, physically unharmed except for his missing limb, but fundamentally changed. He was a man broken, not by the loss of his leg, but by the weight of what that loss represented. He stared at the empty space, the void where his anger had cost him something he could never, ever replace. It wasn't just a leg. It was his certainty, his belief that he could move through the world and inflict his will upon it without a response. For the rest of his life, that empty space would be a constant reminder that every time he saw an animal, whether it was a bird on a wire, a cat slinking through an alley, or another dog by the side of the road, he would remember. He would remember the moment he chose violence. And he would remember the moment the world answered. This story isn't about magic or a supernatural event. It's a metaphor for the profound and often immediate impact of our actions. The universe has a way of reflecting our own energy back at us. When we choose kindness, empathy, and compassion, the world tends to open up to become a more welcoming place. But when we choose anger, cruelty, and violence, we sever a part of ourselves. We might not lose a limb, but we lose a piece of our humanity. We isolate ourselves, creating a world that is just as cold and unforgiving as the actions we put into it. Think about the small moments in your own life, the times you could have been kind but chose irritation instead, the times you could have helped but chose to look away. Those moments matter. They are the threads that weave the fabric of our character and shape the world we experience. The man in the story was given a harsh, undeniable lesson. Most of us get gentler warnings, a guilty feeling, a strained relationship, a missed opportunity for connection. It's a powerful reminder to pay attention to those warnings. To understand that every action, no matter how small, sends a ripple out into the world. We have the power to decide what those ripples will be. Will they be waves of kindness that lift others up, or will they be shockwaves of cruelty that shatter our own world? The choice is always ours, in every single moment. Let's choose wisely. Let's choose to be the kind of people who leave the world a little better, not a little more broken. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that makes you think. See you next time.